Good afternoon, everybody. This is Teresa Horn for the Kingdom Health Show. We're going to be talking about abs today. Let me make sure that the chat is available so I can come back and check that. So if you're joining me live, make sure to say hello in the chat. If you catch the replay later, I know that many of you will be able to catch the replay. Make sure that you say hello. If you're going to join us for the ab challenge in April, you will want to make sure that you're a part of our community, the Kingdom Health Club. We are in Heartbeat as a separate community. So you want to join us there to get all of the information for the AB challenge this month. The AB challenge is our movement challenge, and we also have a challenge that will that will actually be challenging you in your spirit and soul, called Tell Yourself the Truth. The two of them are going to go together so well. And today I'm going to kick it off with some information about our abs and also telling myself the truth and sharing the truth with you. So, hello. Thank you for joining me live. Let's see what else that you need for this month. So, if you are going to join us for the April Ab Challenge, there's some things that it'll be beneficial for you to have, right? So, one of the things that I'm gonna talk about why we're doing this. I'm gonna show you right now is a small ball. So this is a small ball. This particular ball is my favorite small ball. And it's a bender ball. The reason that I like this ball specifically is because it actually has like some guarantees built in. So it tells you the weight requirement or the weight limit for this. So the bender ball, the weight limit is 300 pounds. There are other balls. I'll actually recommend another ball as well. I have not found the actual spot where they tell you what the weight is. Now you can grab a ball and use a ball, and and I have clients who use all kinds of balls. But the thing I like about the bender ball is they tell you right on the box, 300 pounds. So that I feel like that's helpful information because if I'm close to 300 pounds, then I kind of want to know, is it a possibility that this ball will burst? Now, all balls could possibly burst. This is actually anti-burst. And when we talk about bigger balls like agility balls, they will have, if you get a good one, it'll tell you what not to do with it. And then there's that kind of guarantee built into working with the ball. So I like that aspect of those kind of things. So next up, if you were to get this ball and this bar together, if you buy the bar, this is a mobile ballet bar. If you buy these in a combination, if you buy this, you get this for free. So I'll put the information for this in the description. I'll also put a link for a ball. It's not a bender ball, but it's another ball a lot of my clients have and like if you just want the ball. And this ball, the bender ball, I think is like $14. The other ball that I recommend is like $10. You can get them both through Amazon. If you get these together, you will be getting them from Savvier Fitness. And all of those things that I'll put in the description are going to be affiliate links. So you guys know how that works. Affiliate link, I get a little something back if you purchase through my link. If you come across a ball like this at Five Below or TJ Maxx, you can totally use those balls. I just don't know the guarantee behind those balls. I've had people buy balls from other places and have them pop. So I just know if you use these balls that I'm recommending, they're going to be guaranteed up until a certain weight limit. So I want to go over that because we will be using a small ball this month. So I know that was a lot, but I feel like it's important. And we'll get back to that. Actually, I'm going to put it right here. We'll get back to it. All right. So we're talking about abs, talking about ab training. Sometimes when I'm coaching, I'll say tummy. Your abdominal muscles and your tummy muscles are actually two different things, right? Your abdominal muscles are like the muscles that go here and around. Our core muscles are actually front, like kind of what you see here, front. Their sides, and they're actually back. They wrap all the way around. So if you think about your core as like a corset or a saran wrap, it goes around. There are muscles that go around and up and down. So we want to make sure that we're working all of those muscles when we are trying to uh, work on our core, strengthen our core. If you're specifically working on the aesthetic, like you really want your tummy to be flatter, and that's what we're talking about right now, you're going to want to work on your abdominal, the muscles that go up and down, and the muscles that go across. Right now, I'm going to always train everything, but those, you want to make sure that you tackle those muscles, right? And so we're going to be strengthening our abdominal muscles, and our abdominal muscles are not different than any other muscles in our body, like our biceps or our triceps, or so our biceps or our triceps or our quads or our hamstrings. All of the muscles work the same. So meaning, if we want to develop the muscle, we have to progressively overload the muscle. So that means we need to make the work increasingly intense to get the muscle to continue to develop and change. So when you see people doing, let's talk about a plank, for example, and they do a plank for like 4 minutes. Once you get up to like 2-3 minute plank, you're really not progressing that muscle anymore, right? You are usually at that point, it becomes about your back or about other parts of your body that are being fatigued. Certainly, you have to have core strength to hold a plank for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but other things start to be what's being pulled upon or taxed in that. It's our shoulders, it's our back. So there are other ways to progress those exercises, make those exercises more difficult without just adding duration. You do the same thing with a sit-up. Like you think, oh, I'm doing 300 sit-ups. At some point, a sit-up, you need to make it more progressively difficult. You need to intensify the work of the sit-up instead of just adding more repetitions. So that would be like something like you would add a weight. You've seen people with a plate, holding a plate and doing their sit-ups that way. So you want to make sure that you are progressively intensifying the exercise. So that's important. We want to increase the intensity progressively. So that means you are turning that dial up on how challenging the movement is continually. So that's important. The other thing that is important, just like with any other muscle training, is that you give your body adequate time to rest in between. Now, if you were doing sit-ups and you did them every day, that's not that big of a deal, because the intensity of the sit-up does not really increase with repetition. I mean, like it does in a way, but if you're doing, if you do 10, let's start with 10. If you do 10 sit-ups with a weight on your chest, your abs are going to be tired and you're going to need to rest them in between. So it's not going to be something you do every day. If you do different kinds of abdominal muscles or abdominal exercises every day, that would be one thing. But we're going to, in the month of April, when the challenge comes out, you're going to be resting between days, because the abdominal exercises that I'm going to introduce to you are actually going to be intense enough that you're going to need to rest in between. That, at least that's our goal. So we're going to work on intense exercises that we do well with precision, that actually get to what we're trying to do, because we're trying to build the muscle in our abdominals. So we want to create muscle. That is what that's our goal, right? And if we say that our goal is to make our stomachs flatter, it's going to incorporate three things. So we want our stomach muscles to be strong. So they will show definition, so they can actually hold and pull our tummy in, or well, it is your tummy, but that you want to pull in. So you want your stomach muscles, your abdominal muscles to be strong. So that's number one. We're going to work to strengthen our abdominal muscles. Number two is we also want to be working on our nutrition, because we want to, most of us are probably going to want to lose fat in our abdominals. Oh yeah, yep. So most of us are going to want to lose fat in our abdominals, and we'll talk more about that. But we also want to decrease bloating, right? So there are certain things that you will find throughout the month that cause you to bloat. They actually cause your abdominals to bloat up, meaning poke out. So you want to be able to identify those foods that cause you to be bloated and work on your digestion so your stomach's not bloated, right? So you could have great muscle tone, low muscle fat, but if your stomach is bloated, you're still going to have a tummy that's puffed out. So we're going to work on the intensity of the exercises and building those muscles. We're going to work on the nutrition if we need to decrease fat in that area. Do a decrease fat overall. You can't decrease fat in one area specifically, but we're going to decrease our body fat, and then we're also going to decrease bloating by paying attention to what we eat and making sure that we are identifying the foods that actually bloat us and staying away from those foods if it's our desire not to be bloated. So those are the three things we're working on this month, and it's called Tell the Truth. Tell Yourself the Truth, the challenge. We're starting next week. Tell yourself the truth. So you are actually working on telling yourself the truth about what you're putting in your mouth, about how you are paying attention to your nutrition or not paying attention to your nutrition. And I wanted to start this because I'm really working on it with myself. I have been kind of creating a narrative in my head where I'm like, oh, I'm sure that I'm getting enough protein. Oh, I think I'm hitting those goals. And I'm not. When I started telling myself the truth, and with my nutrition specifically, and that for me meant tracking my nutrition, I was not getting anywhere near the protein goals that I need to build the muscle that I want right now. I am in a phase where I am trying to actively work on building my strength. And the only way that you can do that is by increasing muscle. The only way you increase muscle is to work your muscles, but also you have to be eating enough protein to be able to build that muscle. So one of the things I had to do was tell myself the truth, which because I was not paying attention to my nutrition the way I need to, and tell myself the truth about that and really be honest with about what I was doing or what I wasn't doing in that area. I would really do well throughout the day, and then like after 6, 7 o'clock, um, I would get bored. I would get upset. I would be overwhelmed. Instead of working good habits that I've worked in the past, like spending quiet time with God, journaling. One of the things that has really helped me is cleaning, like aggressively, like cleaning out a closet, doing a deep clean in the kitchen. Those things have really helped me because as I do them, I usually listen to praise and worship music, and it really helps me get my head clear. And it's a time that I get to spend time with God. Like I have some wonderful talks with God in my kitchen, like wonderful time. And I wasn't doing those things. I was in the kitchen eating and really mindlessly eating, like snacking on things and not considering those as meals, not considering it as food. So I was lying to myself about the reality of what I was doing, and then wondering why I wasn't able to lift the same amount of weight, or wondering why my favorite pair of jeans were kind of tight in the thighs. So I had to really tell about the results that I was getting. So it's going to be in the private community that we're going to be diving deeper into that. But let's talk about the results of that. So for me, one of the byproducts of kind of being in the space where I wasn't telling the truth is I have put on some weight. I put on like 10, I put on not like I have put on 10 pounds like over the winter, really October to December. And then like in January, I woke up and I was like, what is going on? So I want to specifically show you guys what this looks like on me specifically. So if you're one of my fellows and you're watching and you feel like seeing body parts is going to be offensive for you, then you want to turn away. So see ya, appreciate you being here. But what I want to show you specifically is what body fat looks like. So about these clothes because I don't end up pulling when I'm working out. So you guys see how this looks. So I'm going to show you though from the side, and my tummy, you know, it looks flat relatively. I guess you guys can see, right? And my core is engaged. We're going to talk about that later, but my core is engaged. I am actively engaging my core all the time. But if you were to look, you guys, hopefully you can see. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. Okay, you can see this as I don't know if you guys can see the jiggle, but there's definitely some jiggle there. That jiggle is body fat. So if you were with me 6 months ago and I did that, there would not be any jiggle. So that's body fat. And the way to get rid of that, so, and I guess I'll continue to show you the way to get rid of that is by lowering my overall body fat. We'll talk about that. But I also want you to be able to see, you can also see, I don't know if y'all can see this or not. You can also see that I have muscle. There's muscle here. So the muscle has not gone away at all. It's just got a layer of fat over it, right? And that is most definitely what the majority of us, not the majority of us, but a lot of us here, and I know a lot of the people who I work with, you've got muscles because we work them. You have stomach muscles, but you've got fat on top of it. So we are going to make sure that we continue to actively work your abdominal muscles in a very strategic and smart way. And then we're going to work on decreasing your body fat, again, in a very strategic and smart way, and then reduce your bloating, right? Those are going to take telling yourself the truth. You're going to need to tell yourself the truth about your training. That means, you know, like the workouts that we do and the intensity that you do them and the rest that you get in between. So many people, when they decide to work out, they decide to get healthy, they go crazy. They get into a hustle and grind. They feel like the harder I go, the better it'll be. If I don't need to rest, no pain, no gain. And they do not give their bodies the adequate time to rest in between. You're not going to get the results if you don't do the rest. One or two things are going to happen. You're going to burn out, or you're going to burn out, hurt yourself, or you're going to go so hard that you burn out mentally. Okay, I'm over that. We want to be smart with our intensity so we can sustain it, right? So we're going to need to be intense and then intentional with our rest. Secondly, we're going to work on decreasing our body fat. That is all nutrition. That means we're going to be building muscle and building muscle, building strength, and not adding calories. Sometimes when we start working out intensely, not sometimes, very often, we get hungry. We need to be focused with our nutrition so the things that we eat will be helpful for building muscle. And then the last thing is we're going to need to be paying attention to our nutrition to see what causes us bloating, to see what makes our stomachs bloated. All right. So let me see, making sure that I am covering everything. Talked about fat, talked about muscles. Let's talk about diastasis recti, or coning in the tummy. So this is for my lady. This is men and women, but the majority of the time it comes from women when we have babies. Our muscles are designed to be able to separate to accommodate a baby, right? A growing baby. So those muscles, can separate and then come back together. Sometimes they don't come back together the way we would desire them to. I have had, let's see, my stomach muscles did not come back together actually, and I had a hernia that I've had to have repaired 2 times. So that is when the muscles separate and then basically stuff pops out. So we want to be smart with our exercise. If you have a hernia, then you don't want to do any exercises in flexion, and that means when we do this, if you have a hernia, you don't want to be doing anything like this. You can work your abs in other ways unless your doctor tells you not to, but that's important. So we want to work to repair those muscles. We'll be specifically talking about how to start doing that today, to start repairing the separation of your muscles. Breathing is the number one thing, and then engaging your core is number 2. And then whenever you're doing abdominal exercises, you want to make sure that you are engaging your core and breathing properly. So that is specifically if you have coning, if you have separation, if you have diastasis recti. Those are really important components when we talk about those things. So I think that we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. We're actually going to do exercises. I hope you didn't think you were going to get away with not doing that today. We're going to start with by figuring out how to properly engage your stomach. I want you to find your pubic bone and turn from the side. Find the top of your pubic bone. And that's where I want you to begin. Go ahead and put your hands on it. I know you guys are like, what? Yeah, definitely want you to touch the top of your pubic bone. So that's and I want you to think about a zipper. So from here, from right, like under your breastbone there, your top of your breast, in between your breasts, here to there, think of that as a zipper. And we're going to start at your pubic bone, and we're going to go all the way up, and I want you to progressively zip your zipper up. So hands on your pubic bone, and then I want you to think about first, so hands on your pubic bone, engage your pelvic floor. We're going to start there because that's all connected. So engage your pelvic floor, think about lift. Like if you were like, what do you mean engage your pelvic floor? A way to think about it is if you were sitting on the toilet taking a pee, your pelvic floor is relaxed. I want you to suck or pull those muscles up to engage your core, your pelvic floor. Start there. And then for putting your finger on your pubic bone, we're going to, like kind of 2 fingers at a time, start to engage. When I say engage, like pull in, like a corset or saran wrap. Pull those muscles that are going around, pull them in. So progressively zip up that zipper till you get to the top. Everything should be tight, pelvic floor, core muscles, everything should be tight, pulled in. It should feel like work to hold this. And then now we're going to go back down the zipper, and you're going to gradually decrease or release those muscles in the same way. So now we're going to go back down, and you are going to release those muscles as you go all the way down back to your pubic bone. So again, we're going to do that one more time. I want you to, again, progressively increase your engagement. Again, you should be able to feel this. It should feel like work just to do the engagement. Again, starting with your pelvic floor, and then you go up, 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 up. It should feel tight. You should be like, butt is squeezed in, core is tight. You could like walk on the beach and your stomach would be super flat. At least that is how we are thinking it is in our imagination. And then we're going to go back down and decrease and just release that. So it should feel like released at the bottom. All right. So there we go. Great job. Great job. So now you know what the engagement feels like. So we were just focusing on engagement alone that last time. So you were probably pulled in tighter than you can be while you do an exercise. So now we're not going to go slow. We're going to zip it up and engage. You should be able to know what engagement feels like now. How can I do this without holding my breath? That is going to be the trick. You're going to have to work on it, holding that engagement and breathing. That was such a great question. That's exactly it. You're going to work on being able to hold that engagement and breathe at the same time. That is the movement. And it's so important that we work on that. Like so often we want to skip, like, okay, now I'm going to do something else. We need to spend time working that move alone. We're going to add progressions. We're actually going to do the test now, and you're going to hold that engagement. But the trick is going to be, just like someone mentioned in the comments, I think it's Lindsay, to breathe while we do this. So first we're going to do our test. We're going to go through 3 moves. We're going to hold each move for 60 seconds. You need to write down, actually you probably need to get your own timer. You need to, because you want to write down at which point you have to stop, at which point you're no longer holding your engagement and breathing. That's the thing. So we're going to go for 60 seconds. Your goal is to be able to hold engagement and breathe and hold the movement for 60 seconds. You probably can't do that today. That's wonderful. That is the goal, to find out where you are today, and then we'll test again at the end of the month. But again, you need to tell yourself the truth. Hold the engagement and breathe, and then hold the movement. If you can do it for 20 seconds, great. If you can't do it at all, great. But you want to be truthful about what you can do well, and then we are going to increase from there. Don't try to do something that you can't do yet and say, oh, I did for 60 seconds. That's not really helping you. We want to increase the intensity. That means we have to be truthful about where we are today. So the first movement we're going to do is called a wall slide. So you're going to need to find a wall. Hopefully I can do it here. So, woo, it's cold. Wall is cold. We're going to slide up and down the wall, holding our engagement. All right. So, and we're going to do that for time. I should have had a sweater or something, you guys. Okay, so this is our test. We're going to do these 3 moves. Everybody ready? Again, let's go. You guys start. I need to go to the wall. So you're on the wall, engaging your core, sliding up and down. Woo! So this is the movement. Engage your core. Think about that zipper. And you breathe. We inhale on the work. Exhale on the work. I'm sorry, it's exhale on the work. So down is the work for me. And inhale when we come up. Woo! Five more seconds. I don't know where you are. All right, and there's our time. So that was 60 seconds. Make sure that you write down what you were able to do, where you needed to stop that movement. And we'll test again at the end of the month. So that's a wall slide. These are fabulous exercises if you have diastasis recti, if you have that separation, because we are not in flexion. You can do that exercise without any pressure on your abs. You can do that exercise if you have any type of separation. So that's a really good one. The next one is going to be a wall sit. We're going to go back to that wall. We're going to do that zipper. We're going to hold a wall sit and breathe. It's a really good one to work on the breathing with. Okay, so we're going back to our wall and begin. So you should be in wall sit as low as you can. If wall sit itself, this wall is freezing now. If wall sit itself is like, you can, hold wall sit for 60 seconds, I would get low. My goal here is 90-degree angle, and I am breathing, engaging my core. My back is on the wall, shoulder blades are against the wall. And breathing in and out. This is a really good one because you can really press your belly button to the wall. Imagine that, pulling your pelvic floor up, really focusing on the breathing. This is a really good one. And that's our time. Good job. That was a great one. I really like that one because really the only thing you have to focus on is your breathing. Like you can block out your quads and all that other stuff. All right, so last move we're going to do is going to be a side bend. So we're going to start with our hands behind our head, and I would suggest not lacing your fingers because you don't want to tilt your head forward, but just having your hands opening up your chest, and then we're going to tilt from side to side. So again, we're working on breathing, engaging our core. Let's start. Hands are behind the head, and we're going to tilt to one side as much as you can. So exhale and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So we're breathing, but we've also got that zipper that we've got worked and pulled in. So this is really working the obliques. And when you go to one side, think about opening up the rib cage, making lots of space, and then crunching that back as we go to the other side. So it's really lots of focus on this one as we zip up the core and use the obliques to move from side to side. Great job. And we're done. So that is your test. If you need to go back through that with your own timer, please do. I want you to see where you lost the engagement and stop breathing. So if you were holding your breath, you want to be able to work through those exercises and breathe. All right, so that's the test. That is our actual test. Find out what your numbers are. So say you were able to do 20 seconds on one, 45 seconds on the other, 10 seconds on the last one. Whatever you were able to get to, work that maybe 3 more times. Go through each one 3 times, and that could be your ab exercise for today. If you are joining us in the community for the challenge, Wednesday, you will have your workout for the month. Let me turn my timer off. You will have your workout for the month. So today's exercises are a wall slide, where we did the wall slide, a wall sit, and a standing rotation for the time that you were able to make it for this test. If it was 60 seconds, 60 seconds, each exercise for 3 rounds. If it was 20 seconds for each one, 20 seconds, each exercise for 3 rounds. So we're going to do 3 rounds of each of those exercises for the time that you need to be working at. Tell yourself the truth about where you are so we can progressively increase the intensity. Start true and we'll progressively get stronger. If you start at 20 seconds, then start at 20 seconds. You will have the same result of progression no matter where you start. Tell yourself the truth. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I'll have all of the links that I talked about in the description today. So glad that you were able to join me, Theresa Horn. This is a Kingdom Health Show, and we'll see you guys next Monday.